All right, gentlemen, today we're talking recovery secrets for men in their late 20s and early 30s. All right, starting off with the biggest thing, getting true sleep. Now, as we get older, this gets harder. Job, family, all that stuff coming into play. But I'm telling you, you can prioritize 7 to 9 hours, at least 7 a night. You're gonna be feeling 10 times better, right? A lot of us, we end up getting in that, closer to 6. We gotta wake up early. We get to go bed late because of our kids, whatever it may be. You gotta prioritize that sleep. You'll feel 10 times better. I'll tell you one thing, and it's super hard to do. And I don't think I've cracked that in a couple years now. But back in 2020, I was sleeping 10 hours. 2020, you can probably guess why. But I was sleeping 10 hours a day. And oh my God, it was my lifts were through the roof. My energy was up. I felt phenomenal. It was a huge difference. Again, 10 hours is crazy to get. I don't expect many people to do that, but that is a great way. People underutilize how beneficial sleep is. Now, one thing that might be affecting your sleep, caffeine. I'm a huge caffeine advocate. I love it. I live by it. I'm a coach. Coaches need it. We just got to stay alive. But what I do is I go to sleep around 8 to 9 most nights, and I don't drink any caffeine past 12 because it has a 10-hour half-life. So what that means is if I drink 300 milligrams at 12, there's still 150 milligrams in my system at 10 o'clock. So got to be wary of that and think maybe that's why. So again, try to get to sleep, see if anything's affecting that. So that's rule number 1, sleep. Rule number 2, hydration. Drink plenty of fluids. I tell most people to drink about a gallon a day. You could get a little bit more specific and worry about it as your body weight, but that pee should be clear. So if it's not clear, you gotta drink up, stay hydrated. I usually carry a gallon with me, no matter where I am. Like there'll be times where I get home and I'm about to get to bed, and I realize I still haven't finished my gallon, so I'll chug it. Because that's one of my non-negotiables as well. It's like I have to drink a gallon every day. All right. So drink plenty of fluids, staying hydrated. It's gonna help us recover before, during, and after. And the little sub part of that is electrolytes. So right here I have it's a Gatorade packet. I actually don't love Gatorade unless I am actively training very aggressively and sweating a lot. Or I've been in the sun all day, just because of the extra sugar in it. So I would actually suggest getting something like LMNT. I was doing that for a while. I think most people just call it Element. I was doing that for a long time. I would do 2 or 3 of those a day just because of the salt content. And it's an electrolyte a lot of people miss. So salt, potassium, magnesium, those 3, get those up. You're gonna feel way better. You're gonna feel way more energized. Again, these are fine if you need them, but again, it's going to be way higher calories. I think LMNT was maybe 5 or 10 calories. This is 130 just because of the extra sugar. The reason they have this is because it's carved up, so it's really good for people that are consistently sweating and running, and they need the little bit of extra carbs to keep going. But if you're just trying to hydrate, I suggest something a little bit more on the salt water type of vibe. Something that's going to help you actually hydrate, not just give you, fuel, perhaps. Number 3, nutrition, right? Eating a balanced diet. Making sure we have enough protein, making sure we're eating enough good quality carbs, right? A lot of people stay away from carbs, but carbs are fuel, right? So if you're eating the right carbs and you're eating the right amount of carbs, you'll be feeling pretty good, right? And there's days where I'm not eating as much as I should, and I'll feel it that afternoon or that next morning, because my body is now having to use whatever's stored and not what I'm eating. So it has to kind of takes longer to break down and get into my system. So make sure we're eating properly. Refueling after exercise, right? I know there's that, I don't know if it's still a big stigma, but when I was, first getting into training, it was all about the anabolic window, getting that 20 to 30 grams of protein after a workout. I don't fully believe in it. I don't know enough research. Again, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, not a nutrition specialist. But what I will say is, if we get some carbs after a workout, generally you're gonna feel a little bit better. Same thing with during, if you need to. Right? Again, you're doing really high intensity, maybe something like this where it's got the sugar and you can transform it into carbs is a good idea. And then a little bit something before. I like to do kind of like a bagel or oatmeal like 20-30 minutes before I work out, if possible. Some people will do like a Rice Krispie because it has the fast breaking down. You can break it down fast and use it for energy. Again, try to just make the smartest and healthiest choice when you're doing that. All right, and then number 4 is going to be active recovery. So a lot of people will say less is more. Don't do anything crazy because like actually take the time off. I agree with that, but I think getting mood boosting movement, as I like to call it, is super beneficial, right? So some type of easy run where I can still talk, my heart rate's a little bit elevated, my blood's flowing, you'll feel good from that. Any type of mobility, it's not strenuous activity, it's just easy activity. So it's very different. Now, something really simple, and I do this with all my athletes after our training sessions, is we'll take a band, we're laying down on the ground, feet in the air, knees bent at 90, a little bit of tension, and we just work on our breathing, inhaling and exhaling. All right, all we're trying to do is just lower our heart rate and bring us back to a more of a resting state rather than that kind of intensity active state throughout there. So that's one of the ones I like. I also like doing the same setup, but I'm going to be here and I'm just working on this separation, breathing out, breathing in, just working on getting my rib cage moving and getting blood flow. Again, it's not crazy stuff, it's just small things, right? Foam rolling, just something to get a little bit of blood flow, but we're not actively trying to train or do anything crazy like that. Now, that's 4 simple tips to make sure we're living a little bit better and recovering a little bit better, especially as we age. We don't recover as well, so we got to kind of take these things into account a bit more. And then a little bit of cheat code that I do is when I was training jiu-jitsu, my body would obviously get very sore and my joints and all that. So hot showers are really good for increasing blood flow and recovering. But then there's also the, hey, I need to recover and be ready. That's when we look at the cold showers. Cold showers are going to help decrease inflammation, reduce pain, but it's not going to actually help recover. So the cold showers are really good for avoiding the feelings. It's going to decrease our ability to adapt to what we train to because it's kind of negating that cycle. Think of it as like we train, there's pain, there's adaptation, and then we're good to go, right? So we have this circle. Well, what happens is we train, we feel pain, we do cold shower, we're here. So we don't really have that adaptation point. It's going to decrease it. It's not going to fully get rid of it, but it's a cold shower or, cold plunge is really good for 1, waking up the central nervous system, and 2, just kind of like, hey, I need to get going again real quick. So when I was doing jiu-jitsu, right, I would always cold shower after because that feeling that can accumulate from doing jiu-jitsu is brutal on the body. So I was like, hey, I need to decrease this as much as I could. So I would always do a cold shower, a little bit after a jiu-jitsu session. But those are, 4 or 5 tips that I think are huge and very important when it comes to recovering in our later age. So I hope that helps you. Leave a comment if you need anything else.